Thank you very much, Jennifer. I love this sonata and thank you for beautiful. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, yes, wonderful. Thank you. Again would like to thank you for the wonderful choice of this sonata. I love this, and I find it exceptionally difficult, and I will explain why. And probably you already know that. And thank you very much for great playing. And so we don't have much time, so let's focus on something which we need to talk about. For me, this sonata is mostly an intellectual challenge, or it's a challenge in anything. There are, of course, some technical difficulties there, but they are kind of unexpected. They lay mostly in something which we all consider to be very easy. For example, in chords, we need to make this. I remember. My approach to chords changed when one of my teachers said, I don't like this pianist, but she was able to shock me by just one chord, by making this memorable in sound. And I suddenly realized that why don't I use mm, my artistic goal in finding memorable color of every chord. This is exactly the case in this sonata, where you don't have really technical challenge. You don't need to be very fast, etc. But you need to make these chords as picturesque, as depicting, as different as possible. So of course, you need a great hall, you need a great piano, and you have a rather good piano, but at the same time, we need to listen to these uh, walls which are not near but far away. And it makes you suddenly realize, if you practice in big halls, that you can somehow coordinate, you can somehow tame these sound waves when they have enough space to be developed. So this idea of making sound not just here, not being born in the keyboard which is near you, but somewhere far away, makes you touch the key differently. So it applies both to la, mi, da, ra, and both to chords. So I would always imagine that there is a color and there is a air. I can sing ah, but I also can sing ah, including some just empty air in my sound. And sometimes I need this quality in piano sound too. Not just la, mi, but like you are sliding on the surface of sound. Can you try to touch
Mhm.
it? Yeah. Yes. 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 You should just now. I just give you a little new perspective in this. So it needs some practicing. You need to be comfortable, relaxed, and also to try to make it probably deeper or slower or with priority of right hand or left hand. You need to do it very different ways to understand how many different ways you can do. And it is
Mhm.
especially difficult in chords because they produce so many balances between every neighboring notes there. You
Yeah.
understand what I mean.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that's a big thing to do here in this sonata. When you played even now for the second time, you slightly push too much sections of phrase which are not supposed to be heavy. For example, there are downbeats, la mi, and there are upbeats, and la mi re mi do si la. Yeah, if you sing like that, I would suspect that you are not a good singer. Why? Because you pay even equal attention to every note.
Ah.
So that's the beginning of a very important consequences. Don't forget that Schubert was a predominantly author of song. Of course, he wrote a lot of things. For his 31 years old life, long life, he wrote surprisingly much. But the most amount of what he wrote was songs, more than 1,000 songs. Not like symphonies, like chamber music. He's genius in everything, but especially in songs. So his thinking is connected with the word, and words in all European languages have very, very important rule. Two syllables, two neighboring syllables in a speech are never on the same level.
Yeah.
So you simply cannot ta ta. You cannot sing this way. You need to show me, for example, la la mi re mi do si la mi do la. So you skip short notes because you cannot really push them. You skip notes without spoken syllables, but you emphasize those which are supported with the bass or on the downbeat or both.
Mm-hmm.
For example, second stanza, la re mi fa mi la. You cannot re mi fa mi. You cannot do that. In spite of forte, in spite of crescendo, you still need to support this very basic musical communicative point, which is very, very related to a speaking point. I cannot speak like this. It is impossible to listen to me. So you need to slide more. So let's just play the first phrase and try to show me, just show me, like I'm your student and you're my teacher, which notes are downbeats and which notes should be lighter, slider. So that's better, that's better, that's clear. But
Mm-hmm.
one question, ta ta tam,
Yeah.
you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Re, do, si, la, mi, do, la. Also, how many of these summits, local summits, should be? Do we need to push the first note? La, mi, re, mi. Probably not. Probably just one in a. By the way, composers, clever composers, would always help you with a slur. So if there is one slur, da ra ra ra, there will be one summit in them.
Right.
Slur is how energy is being born.
Mm.
Tam, pam, pam, pam. It's chopped and it's divided in four. Tarararam under one slur means that there is one mutual meaning in all these four notes. Can you try to make it tarararam, like one gesture in dancing? So, and for me as a listener, there are
Mm-hmm.
two events. One is tarararam, and second one is tamparararam. Whereas when you play the first time, there
Mm-hmm.
was one, two, three, four, tam taram, tam. So many, many events,
Yeah.
not connected enough. You see?
Yeah.
So you need to sometimes just giving me sound without support. That's a lot of notes are not designed to be supported because they are not with a stressed accented syllable. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Does it make any sense?
Yes.
That's a huge, yeah, that's a huge, huge thing. Also, there is another thing. It's a big articulational thing. Please pay more attention to light sections of your phrasing. That's one thing. And another thing is a big thing. If, again, connected with word song derivatives, if we have words, it means that we have images, meanings, and stories. We really cannot use words without connections between them. I remember a huge, huge lesson I had from a singer. Probably you've heard about the last one of the last pieces Schubert wrote, which is called "A Shepherd on the Rock." Have you ever heard of this name? "A Shepherd on the Rock."
Yeah.
It is soprano, piano, and clarinet. And so I started to play. It is a very, very easy beginning. I will show. I will try to. Just a second. to show. The music is kind of basic, something like that. And I play very simple, not seeing any challenges here. And suddenly my singer, and she was a great soprano, she's still singing, Yana Ivanilova, she's a Russian, and she said, no, you simply don't understand what is inside. This is about a distant thunderstorm. There is a lightning, to-doom, to-doom, and very distant roaring. So she doesn't know how I should do that, but she knows what is in the word. Because she sings that and she knows, and I was lazy enough not to check. Yeah, this is a great piece. It is 11 minutes of the most heavenly music ever written. Please listen to that. It is a great music. And then she gave me a great lesson to understand that everything is can mean something in image field. It's not just a phrase, but it is a story. It should be a part of probably even a visual story. Yeah, and it is especially true for some composers who write a lot of vocal music. You understand why? In Schumann case, you can find interesting connections between their vocal music and their piano music, and you sometimes just understand what they mean by compare this pattern or this tonality or this texture to something which supports the voice. You see? So in Tchaikovsky, in Rachmaninoff, yeah, plenty of examples of that. Yeah, in Liszt sometimes he wrote quite a lot of great vocal music too, but especially in Schubert case. So when you have this tarararam tam taram pam pam, yeah, you have a solo voice, very lonely, very hopeless, and then you have torum, torum. It sounds like a old man is walking without a real goal. And then there is something tatam, pa 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 pa, this second subject, which is much more beautiful. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
So, I'm already starting some story. Probably it's not, it's something very superficial, but at the same time, the story helps me to realize what kind of color do I need. If I'm a composer, what instruments would I use here? Will I use your body language when you play? Your body language says you are very emotional. You try to feel everything. You are very you feel empathy. You feel um, involvement, emotional involvement. That's all a language of a young person. And this sonata for me depicts something which is hopeless. He was able to do that in spite of his young age. Do you know examples of his tragic music? Anywhere
Um,
apart from this sonata?
his his other sonatas.
Like what?
Um, there's the other another A minor sonata as well.
There are three of
That
them.
one is
Yeah,
yeah.
probably you know this one. This is again a song. That's a heart-rending music, which is called Leiermann. Uh, I don't know in English, by the way, how it will be. It's the last song of the Winterreise.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, last
Winterreise.
song where there is no hope, no future. Everything is lost. You are forever alone. And that's what I feel in this sonata too. Without showing that, without being young, without making this probably gestures of your body, you should concentrate it on the symbolic meaning of every note. And while you are moving, I feel that you don't feel enough, you don't control your sound enough. You feel, but you should put all your energy into acoustic level. So I would not move here. I would not help with my body, you understand?
Yeah.
Because you show that you are emotionally involved, and that's exactly what is not not a language of an elder people.
Right.
So can you try to make this symbolic meaning like you are. Every gesture is a lot of meaning, that's why you should not spend them. And slightly faster. And don't forget about sliding notes. Can you begin? Oh, did you notice what you did? So why do you need this massage?
I,
This is uh, wiping. No, no. Please, you touch the piano, and the sound starts without you showing that.
mhm.
It's difficult, but you need to be an actress a little here. Weak endings. Yes, that's. Go on. Look at the endings of this. For me, that's better. That's better. It seems even more dull, but at the same time, it invites me to guess what's next. I'm more focused on the future of what you are doing, but not on the current situation with every note changing it. You see, you give me not enough information. That's why I'm curious. So that sometimes you need to show that you are just above. You said, bye bye, Earth, I'm far away. And you see this Earth from a big, big distance, from above. You see? So not paying attention to every little mountain
Mhm.
there. So I would even emphasize this uh, weak endings. You have tara, dee pa pa, second one. Ta da ra, again the weak one. And the weakest one is the last one. You understand what I mean
Yes.
with weak? Weak.
Yes.
Just sliding without any added push.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, begin please. Or. Yeah, so you have again four. That's better, but that's tentative, kind of tentative. It is you need to have this as a habit. You see. Also, you have four similar rhythmical events, so it means that you need to subordinate them somehow. So I would do them a little differently. With probably if you know European poetry, including Russian poetry, we all always have this four lines structure. Tara 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 dam, tara 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 dam, tara 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 dam, tara 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 dam. So, and it means that it is four lines, German poetry included. Fourth is the most important. It's kind of conclusive one. So if you have la fa sol fa la si do mi do, I would allow myself a little not rubato, a little change. I would not call it ritenuto only in the fourth one,
Mhm. I see.
little, because it is the last one. So can we go on la? Yeah. What I hear, da 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 pa pa. In this long note, I don't hear the continuity. Da, di. For me, it's a strong thing. It's a strong part. You are less spectacularly moving, I would say, but you are much stronger inside. Your power, which exists in your body language, should go to acoustic. So I try to squeeze long note, and all the energy is spent during this long note, and what remains for the next one is a very very little tiny sound. Da ra ra da ra. By the way, that's exactly what string instruments are doing. That's exactly what singers are doing. They have a very similar thing. Ta. So they cannot avoid this effort. You see? Can you imitate them? Like cello, violin, or Fischer disco? Try to not to dance it. Weak, weak. You see, the beginning was very good, but still, as soon as you reached forte, you try to imitate Liszt style with a lot of jumps. Yeah, it goes without your control. You need to control everything.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we cannot live without control. So I would imitate the difficulty to go up. At some age, it's very evident. You see, da da da. You show me that you are emotionally involved, and I want you to show that you are tired. So, uh, let's go to the second subject. Again, he puts a lot of difficulties, and he clearly has in mind chamber quatuor. Tam, ti, 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 ti. Can you do it? I think it is in E. Yeah, this is already recapitulation. Yeah, in in major. Mhm. Jennifer, Jennifer, look. You see, I do too much. Of course, you're playing much better than I'm showing now. But you have to avoid that. It's like at the end of this gesture, and alto. I forgot. I never play that. So just I have no. You see, I try to make it clear, but just once in every in a phrase.
Yeah.
Hmm. And also, instead of doing them separately, I try to cover technique, which is piano technique of making the sound, which is vertical, and change it to horizontal phrase making. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Viola. That's better. That's better. But Jennifer, you need to make it your own language. You see.
Yeah.
Now you're doing what I'm asking, but now you have to change to appropriate it into your own language. You see, that's a difficult thing because you need to kind of want it. And
Yeah.
so when you have this list. When you have this forte, it is much more difficult than forte, because forte makes natural accents which we have to eliminate here. So whereas you see,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, can you try to do that in this very phrase from here? We return back a little. You know, or
Mm-hmm.
you remember, that's better. That's better. Each time it's slightly better. But one more important thing. Do you remember what I started with?
The quality of the chords.
Chords, and to include the silence inside the chord. So as soon as you have forte challenge, try to imagine that this is not ah, but ah. What I'm doing, I'm skipping all notes. I simply need forte only here,
Mm-hmm.
or probably here too. But all the rest is just an air. It has no support. So instead of doing that, 6 notes, I'm doing. You see,
Yeah.
I include piano inside forte. It's like a picture of 19th century romantic paintings. If you remember these paintings, it is a figurative, beautiful landscapes, and there is light, and always there is a shadow. Include the shadow, piano, inside from here. Can you do it from here? Including piano. Do you hear piano inside? These 3 notes.
Um.
Or better.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
You see? You hear the difference?
Yes.
Or it's not just more piano, less forte. It's a very, very different balance. That's why I started with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Any place. Now, now, you are missing. You can take any tempo. probably without tempo at all. I just need you to feel this potentially very beautiful color when you include some of the piano inside in some notes. Yes, that's already better. Yes, that's better. So, yeah, a little hint, very, very simply speaking. If you have six notes in a vertical chord, which is a normal case here, yeah, you need to use your jewelry imagination how to combine it. Forte, forte, piano, 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 piano. This is the simplest. Can you do it from above? Just any chord. Yeah. Try to make it like a jewelry. You're choosing beautiful stones. And slightly deeper. You know, for me, it sounds much more beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very easy thing, but you need to wish it. You see? So we need to go to, I think, to finish with you. But I told you the most basic things here. So there is always connection with the whole European art of early Romantic era, which is mostly predominantly connected with words, 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 words. Second thing, try to find the technical challenges in about everything, like chords.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, even here, but you will have to do it too. It's very very rapid there and rather difficult, but you will have to do that too. And then uh, the most important, the basically important phrasing.
Mm-hmm.
Ta 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 is should be eliminated.
Yeah,
Okay.
for
Good
sure.
luck and thank you very much, Jennifer, and thank you very much for bringing this fiendishly difficult sonata, which I
Thank
love very
you.
much.
Thank you so
Good luck.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Pavel. That was fantastically enriching experience for me to observe this. Jennifer, I would like to ask you a question if you don't
Yes,
mind.
of course.
Um, you're a very young artist, but you're already accomplished and you've traveled and performed in many countries by now and on many different venues. I know you traveled to Europe and to Asia and to many different places. Right now, you're in the most comfortable place probably in the whole world, in your own home.
Where
Did
is it? In
Which,
Virginia.
yes, in Northern Virginia. Yeah, I live there.
so, and I can feel that you're in your own element in your surroundings. But did playing today from your living room in any way take away that very special vibe of an actual performance for you?
I would say, I wouldn't say that it took away. I would say it was a different way to think and to feel while I'm playing because I would kind of say it's almost as if I'm playing as if like in a studio, a recording studio, and yet I have an audience, which is everyone here, and I feel it's much more intimate of a setting than, a huge concert hall, right? We have people sitting all the way in row Z, and it's different, for solo piano concerts, you don't quite feel this connected, I think, in such a big setting versus here, it's much more of a intimate setting, which is somewhere between like a recording studio and a very intimate home concert, which I really like about that. I think it's very warm and very intimate, and we can connect better, I think, in some ways. Um, Although, of course, concert halls are always fun. They're always the reverb, the amazing acoustics, and there's a kind of power and like energy that you feel that is very different in a concert hall. But the energy at home is irreplaceable, right?
Interesting you mentioned the concert hall and the acoustics and the reverb of it. Um, Now that you have that imaginary connection with people thousands of miles away, does that somehow feed on your imagination of creating the sound in that large space with the echoes? Or do you actually have to have that physical aspect of it in order to connect with the sound and silence play in your playing?
I think it's almost paradoxical because in such a small setting versus a very big concert setting, although, we kind of use the concert hall's energy that we feel while we play when we walk on stage, when, the audience applauds for us, we kind of use that in our performance, and that helps with our imagination, especially for a grand piece, like if we played Mussorgsky, here versus in a huge concert hall. It's a very different feeling. I think, in a smaller setting, you would have to really work a lot more on your imagination. And yet, I feel that because it's such an intimate and personal setting, you're more free to let your imagination go actually. So even though it's kind of weird to think that if we played Mussorgsky pictures at an exhibition in your small home studio, it shouldn't it doesn't seem to fit because it's such a huge piece, and yet because you're able to focus much more in your home setting, it actually works out somehow. That's my take. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but
Okay. Well, thank you for the comments.
thank you.
This is very interesting, and thank you very much for being
Thank
part
you,
of this.
Jennifer. Yeah,
Thank you
and
so
say
much.
hello to your teachers. I love them. Yeah.
Yes, I will. Thank you.